Bills fans, NFL free agency starts in a week's time, and the Buffalo Bills got a ton of news today. Welcome back to Smitty Talks Bills. I am your host, Smitty, and in today's video, we'll be going down every single bit of news that drops surrounding the Buffalo Bills today. Now, before we get into this video, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to this channel. We are currently at 896 subscribers, with the goal being 1,000 by the NFL draft. Thank you guys for all the support on the videos recently, but let's get straight into it. I'm not going to waste any of your guys' time. When we take a look at Twitter, you see this tweet from Underdog Fantasy. Edge Maxx Crosby could be traded this week. Per Albert Breer, Cowboys, Bears, Ravens, Bills, Patriots, Eagles, and Rams are keeping tabs on his availability. Now, it was reported just a little bit ago that Maxx Crosby was not going to be on the move, but now Albert Breer this week says Maxx Crosby could get traded. And this week we saw this morning David Montgomery getting traded from the Detroit Lions to the Houston Texans. So trade season is officially starting, and Maxx Crosby could be the next big edge rusher to come off the board and potentially be a Buffalo Bill. As you see, we are one of the teams that are keeping tabs on his availability. But let's dive a little bit deeper into Maxx Crosby. So this morning, and I love Dan Mitchell. I intern at Roundtable Sports for his brand. Absolutely love the guy. This morning he came out with a tweet saying the Bills are reportedly interested in Maxx Crosby. Here's my proposed compensation. Bills receive Maxx Crosby. Raiders receive a 2026 and 2027 first-round pick, as well as Ed Oliver. And then he says, who says no? Well, I think all the Bills Mafia would say no to this trade proposal, if we're going to be completely honest. As you guys see, this tweet got quite a lot of comments on it. 565 comments and 227,000 views from a lot of angry Bills fans. And a lot of Bills fans, I think basically every single one of them, said no to this trade package. So what would you do for Maxx Crosby? Now, if I had to make a trade proposal, I would be proposing the 2027 first-round draft pick, as well as maybe a third or a fourth-round pick in either this year's draft or next year's draft. But one thing for certain is, if we're going to give up 2 first-round picks for Maxx Crosby, which I would not do, but if we are going to do that, I'm not adding Ed Oliver into that trade, and neither are the Buffalo Bills. Because as you guys will see in this kind of package, or in this article about the Buffalo Bills, it says down right here, there's been speculation that defensive tackle Ed Oliver could be available in trade, but I'm told that the Bills have no interest in moving him and that they expect him to be on the team in 2026. So not only would the Bills not make that trade for obvious reasons, but Ed Oliver, no matter what, he's going to be staying on the team in 2026. So Bills fans, I'll let you know what I would give up for Maxx Crosby. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Now, one other thing that is very important with the Buffalo Bills is obviously the discussion around the wide receiver room. Now, as you guys know, the Bills wide receiver room currently is not very good. We have 2 guys on bad contracts in Curtis Samuel and Joshua Palmer. Curtis Samuel is all but gone. He just has to be released because we'll be saving $6 million in cap, which is literally a no-brainer. As when it comes to Josh Palmer, it's hard to get off his contract this year. However, we will probably be moving on from him next offseason as soon as we possibly can. And then when it comes to the rest of the wide receiver room, we have Khalil Shakir, who's a very good receiver, but he's more of a wide receiver 2 archetype. I think Keon Coleman has been a bust throughout this first 2 years of his career. So then you see this report this morning from Matthew Barry. Shout out to @SleeperBills who tweeted this out. One team that definitely needs a wide receiver is Buffalo. That is an understatement. 2 names I heard for them were either Rashid Shaheed or Mike Evans. Matthew Barry on rumors he heard at the Combine. Now, when it comes to the wide receiver talk for me, Mike Evans is the guy for me in free agency. I think he would, come in on a 1 or 2 year deal with money that would not absolutely blow the doors off Buffalo. It would kind of be in a similar range to a guy like Josh Palmer, in my opinion, just because of Mike Evans' age and the fact that he missed some games due to injury last season. Now, there's another tweet from Mookie Hawkins. I don't know if I have it saved right here. I don't. I apologize for that. Where he says that the Bills were also talking to Romeo Doubs. Now, again with Romeo Doubs, I think he would be literally just a Curtis Samuel or Joshua Palmer type of signing. Whereas I think he is a little bit better, but I don't know if his skill set will be, properly put to use in this Bills offense. I think the Bills need a true number 1 wide receiver, and Mike Evans, a future Hall of Famer, could be that guy for Josh Allen. So for me, Mike Evans would have to be wide receiver 1 for the Buffalo Bills in free agency. However, I still think even if we do get Mike Evans in free agency, that the Bills do still need to address the wide receiver room a little bit more. And that is where this tweet from the Bills guys on Twitter comes in. They say, there are plenty of wide receivers who hear their names called rounds 1 through 3. these are my favorites, and the reason why I'm bringing up this tweet is because most of these guys are my favorites as well. Is Casey Conception, Omar Cooper Jr., who has quickly risen up my board for who I want the Buffalo Bills to draft in round 1. Chris Brazell, Brennan Thompson, Skylar Bell, Ted Hurst, Bryce Lane, and Jacoby Lane, or Bryce Lance and Jacoby Lane. A lot of these guys I love. We'll pull up some Casey Conception highlights right here. Turn this music off right here. Jeez. You see these Casey Conception highlights right here. My favorite part about Casey Conception is just the fact that he's such a smooth route runner. And he kind of has a similar archetype to Stephon Diggs, that he'll get open with his route running and make some tough catches. Hopefully he doesn't have the clutch gene of Stephon Diggs, because we all know that Stephon Diggs has none and he played his worst in the playoffs. But Casey Conception, I think, would be a phenomenal option for the Buffalo Bills in the draft. We'll take a look at some of these options again that the Bills guys put out. I think Casey Conception, Omar Cooper Jr., Brennan Thompson, I'd be super excited with. Ted Hurst, I'd be excited with, maybe at the end of round 3, which is where we're picking, or even round 4 if you trade up in round 4 to get Ted Hurst. Those are probably my favorite guys in the draft when it comes to wide receiver. I've seen there are guys like Carnell Tate, Denzel Boston, who Denzel Boston I'm not as high on, but guys like Carnell Tate, and even just some of those other round 1 options, I think that they could be phenomenal for the Buffalo Bills. However, I don't see the Bills trading up in round 1 for a wide receiver. So I think that, Casey Conception or Omar Cooper Jr. are probably the two guys that the Bills will have a chance of getting at pick 26, assuming that Bean stays put. But Bills fans, I think the perfect solution for the Buffalo Bills wide receiver room is going to be to sign Mike Evans in free agency, as well as draft a guy in round 1 or 2. My preference would obviously be Casey Conception or Omar Cooper Jr. But you guys let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below on what we do with the wide receiver room. And the last thing that I want to get to is this tweet that just came out 36 minutes before I started recording this video. This is a report that Caleb Downs, the star safety from Ohio State, who could be a top 5 to top 10 pick in this year's NFL draft, was flagged this week with a partially torn meniscus. There's also concern about a possible degenerative ACL. It feels similar to the Will Johnson situation last year. We'll see how it plays out. Now, you guys know Caleb Downs is one of the best safeties in this draft. He is the best safety in this draft. I think he could absolutely transform any defense that he becomes a part of, and that is why I want the Buffalo Bills to be able to get him so badly. However, I don't think he would be even relatively close to trade up to a trade up spot for the Buffalo Bills in the draft this year. But if this situation plays out like it does with Will Johnson was supposed to be probably a top 10 pick in the draft last year and fell all the way to the second round. I believe he was pick 40 in the second round. Now, Bills fans, if that same situation happens with Caleb Downs, the Bills need to be all over it, because even if there is an injury risk, which obviously there is, he has a partially torn meniscus, there could be a concern about a degenerative ACL. I think his talent is so great that if he could stay healthy in the NFL, he could easily transform his Buffalo Bills defense in this new Jim Leonard style 3-4 defense. I think he would easily take our defense to being top 5 in the NFL once again. But Bills fans, those are all the updates we have today, from Maxx Crosby to the wide receiver room to Caleb Downs potentially falling in the draft. Let me know all your thoughts on what the Buffalo Bills should do this offseason. This is obviously going to be a busy week as free agency starts next Monday, but the work starts now. So Bills fans, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below on everything, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.